That is weird. But you know, it wouldn't be bugs if it wasn't my code, so.
It's Issues with Brian.
All right, what's up, everybody? Issues with Brian. It seems like we've actually had a lot of updates in open source. Looks like, as I speak, we've got 5 PRs that are open. One of them's mine. Also, shout out if you sat with me, if you sat with me in the sort of Copilot walkthrough, is sort of a, I don't know, speed run. It's kind of a slow run, to be quite honest. This is the code I was actually referring to. This is all generated by Copilot. What I want to do is actually take this bump version from JSON. Actually, Dota 2, I think he helped me out with this originally with standard version. With standard version, I want to remove that because this is not a package that's getting shipped to NPM. All I want to do is, if the label that gets merged on the PR gets merged and has a specific label, like either minor or patch or major, I want to just bump that version. So that's what this case statement is. I've actually written this a couple times because this has been my go-to example for some GitHub action stuff, which is what I'm going to do with this. I want to actually make this into a GitHub action. So this is a work in progress. So stay tuned on that. We did get a PR, which living in a van, I know you're sitting in here. I didn't get a chance to run this locally, so let's go ahead and do that. I love this feature of opening up PRs in the code space. This makes it so much faster. All right, so what I want to do is actually, I want to run this locally in a code space. So locally is kind of a stretch, to be quite honest. It looks like there's some post create commands. We'll get with this. It is showing my pull request here. That's totally fine. So whenever you're ready, code space. Downloading some extensions, not a problem. So while that's happening, let me go back into open source. And I just really want to talk to a couple other things. I basically have this done. I actually haven't got, was there a, oh, you know what, you said there was a random notes thing happening. So let me check that in a sec. And I'm actually focusing on PRs today instead of issues because haven't had time to review these. I use shortcuts a lot. I'm actively trying to learn more. Okay. What is, sorry for sniffling. My kids got a runny nose. First cold of in the last year and a half. And I think it is now hitting me right now while I'm on stream. Amazing. All right. So this you're saying living in a van / MT Foley. You are saying that you're still seeing some notes that are obliterating. So if I can catch everybody else up while I'm doing this, the thing that's happening is with persist query, it was using my token and it was generating my notes because it was my token. We fixed that because now we're using the search API instead of specifically the API that uses authenticated users. So we will check to see if I use this other account and if I go into Team Tau, will this be my notes or will this be, oh, this is a note DSA now is what's about. So this note should also show up on not be Dougie, open source goals. If this is not the case, then we should probably fix this. When I say we, I should fix it. And there you go. This is not showing. But if I go to the same project and swap it out with B Dougie, it won't be issue 1. It'll be something different, but it'll be issue 313. That is not the, that's not the issue. So apparently it's showing somebody else's issue or a different issue. It's actually showing Babel. And that's what's interesting about this. So let me real quick just look at Babel. I don't have any. It's actually grabbing. This is a note DSD. So it's actually grabbing this issue. So it must be hard coded somewhere. I can go ahead and figure out and find this. But thanks for shouting this out, MT Foley. It's actually grabbing issue number 1 for B Dougie. So that number right there is grabbing my issue. That stinks. But yeah, I think what I'll do is confirmed on stream. This is grabbing B Dougie's first note. That is weird, but you know, it wouldn't be bugs if it wasn't my code. So I will definitely go and fix that. Going back to this, did we ever get this to? Now it wants to sign in my Copilot extension. I haven't actually used Copilot in Code Spaces yet, so I guess I can just do that. It's gonna want to also refresh the VS Code. Well, port forwarding. Okay, so npm run Storybook. We're doing all this just to look at MT Foley's PR. And I've already got to the point where I'm fixed. So far, we talked about this briefly. We're checking out this now, but I did jump into this one just to confirm that that is still an issue with Brian. So we'll have to fix that later. Open a browser, porting, port. We should get a Storybook. Anticipation. All right, so we've got dark mode inside of a Storybook. I can't remember if you left any notes for what should we be looking out for. Also, MT Foley, this shout out to MT Foley sitting in the chat. Super helpful. I saw you mention open source to Dan Abramoff on Twitter too as well. And shout out to your implementation on dark mode. I will eventually make a video on your dark mode implementation so that way the world can know the work that you have provided. But for the most part, it looks good. Checks are passing, which I think the checks were passing was the only issue. Could also be a good first issue. Oh, this is the question you had. Could also be a good first issue, but the infer decisions coming up, I could see it going either way. Oh, your question was about the index.css. I do want to punt on that, whether to make that static. That could be a discussion. I mean, the answer is yes. So if you're able to do that, and if you want to take time to do that, so I'm talking to you specifically living in a van / MT Foley. If you want to actually implement that into your PR, I would totally take that. Highly recommend. Yeah, it should be a static build through and through. So yeah, it's up to your discretion. But it would only be beneficial, and I haven't done any sort of performance or anything like that on the Storybook because it is for just contributors. So, but say go for it. I do a new issue plus PR to be honest. Okay, gets the dopamine hit of getting his PR accepted then. Okay, I mean, Dota 2, which I forgot your GitHub handle, something orange, or is that your Discord? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Heard the magic words. All right, so punt. All right, cool. Also, need to make this work. I'll just grab this. Code it quick, that's what it was. And who doesn't want to get a screenshot directly into a GitHub repo or GitHub PR? Screenshots. You know, for the longest time, I've had this Dropbox integration for my screenshots, and I love it. I love having screenshots on multiple machines. I can grab them anywhere. Cool, so we'll let that sit. I think I'll go ahead and prove this, and it will remind me to go ahead and merge that later after stream. I've got to jump on a whole nother meeting, a whole nother call. Thanks, everybody. This has been a blast. It's been a pleasure, and see you on Friday.